Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Candy and Chaos. I'm Katie, your host, and before we start every show, I always want you to remember that candy is sweet, life is messy, and you can do it all bougie on a budget. All right, so I'm slumming it today. If you can't see me, I've got a big old Nike sweatshirt on. I just got home from work, I made dinner, and my back is killing me. I swear, I hit 41 and everything is falling apart. Like my back hurts, my knees hurt. I used to be a runner. I can't run because my body is falling apart. So we're just going to ignore that and I'm just going to be comfortable today. That's all there is to it. I'm just going to be comfortable and I'm going to enjoy my 40s. And if I'm in pain, at least I've got an icy hot patch on. So in today's episode, in something that you all have been asking me about, Canal Street, New York City, the mecca of fashion, all things beautiful, my home away from home. Ugh, I could go on and on. I love New York City. It is my city. I wanted to move there after college, but my mom said no, and I didn't because I do everything my mom tells me to do, and you should too. But, you know, I love the city. I love it so much. So I kind of wanted to go down memory lane to current kind of bougie on a budget situation. And, you know, this is my podcast. So we're going to go down my memory lane about bougie on a budget and how it all started in my life. Now, you know, I think, well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I'm jumping ahead of myself here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just start from the beginning. So I have always loved Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton is my bougie staple. I love Louis Vuitton bags. I used to watch Newlyweds, just Jessica Simpson, and if you know, you know, her white Murakami Speedy. That is what started it all for me. I loved that show. I adored her, and that bag, she called it her pet, and I wanted that bag so bad. Even at the time, I think back then it was probably close to like $900 probably. Now it's, you know, you can't touch a Murakami vintage here in the United States for less than probably $3,000. But I just remember watching her with that bag and thinking, wow, like that is the it bag. You know, watching that, and I think maybe that's not when it first started, but as far as my love for Louis Vuitton, that's when it started. Back to like New York City. So when I was in 8th grade, maybe that was the right timing. Newlyweds, 8th grade, maybe. I'm not sure. I might be dating myself. But anyway, 8th grade, our trip was, in my school, was to go to New York City. And my mom came as a chaperone, of course, and we did not follow what the school's agenda was. Like, she took us to, I don't know if people remember, but Emeril Lagasse. Do you remember him on the Food Network? He went like, bam! She took us to a live taping of that in New York City, which was amazing. We were on TV. You know, we watched him cook. Phenomenal. And during that trip, we also went to the Statue of Liberty. Now, this was the time when guys would walk around with black trash bags and be like, you want a purse? You want a purse? You want sunglasses? You want a thing? And they'd open their coat or they'd open their trash bag, a literal trash bag, and you would look in and the replicas were awful. Like, they were falling apart, they smelled funny, they were plastic, they were not great. But for an 8th grader who, you know, was starting to dip her toes in the bougie world, I just remember being like, wow, like, look at this dude carrying around bags of bags. At the time, I didn't buy one from them, but I just remember how they were in front of the Statue of Liberty in like that grassy area. Now I think it's filled with a carousel and a whole bunch of restaurants and stuff, but it was an open field. And I just remember walking down the sidewalk and seeing him with a black trash bag approach us. And he showed us what was inside the bag and we didn't buy anything. And then I remember we walked closer to where the Empire State Building is and a whole bunch of people were outside with Oakley sunglasses and watches. And I remember even on the trip, even though we didn't follow the agenda, everybody on that trip bought Oakley sunglasses. You know, we called them Folkleys. And I wore glasses. I've been wearing glasses since I was in probably kindergarten. But I bought a pair because I wanted to be cool, and I wore them. And they were clear. I still remember them. They were clear Folkley sunglasses, and I wore them blind because I didn't have my glasses on. And I was so proud of those, and everyone on the bus had them when we were driving back, and that was what I remember from the trip. Emerald Lagasse and buying fake Oakleys. And I'm sure there was some sort of historical thing we were supposed to learn or something that we were supposed to take away from that trip. But I took away that I loved New York City. I loved buying Bougie on a budget and, you know, having my mom come. What's better? And my best friend, who she stayed with us. So that was, I don't want to say the start, but it was like when I was introduced to this whole other world. Now, fast forward a little bit, and my mom, being the sweet angel that she is, bought me my first fake Louis Vuitton bag. She got it for me for Christmas. It was the little pochette. It had the chain purse. I still have it. I think I must have been in freshman of high school, must have been. And that was when things were starting to get really popular. You know, people were buying things at the mall and the kiosks. You know, they didn't have the LV, but they had like those little stars on them. You know what I'm talking. If you're my age, you knew what I was talking about. Even if not online, you knew what I was talking about. And she bought me one that actually like had LV on it. I still have it. I use it as a makeup bag. I wish I would have grabbed it for people who are watching this video, but I love that bag. I still love that bag. It has my makeup in it. I carry it around, and it's such like a wonderful memory, you know, that this was the time when I started really figuring out what replicas were and Bougie on a budget was, and, you know, really kind of seeing that you could be bougie and not spend a lot of money. So that bag started it all. That was my very first Louis Vuitton bag. I'm using air quotes. So then after that, I don't think I really paid too much attention. I think that, you know, my brother might have paid more attention to it. Like he got like Folkleys and things like that. But then DHgate came around. And if you know, you know, the yellow app, DHgate. I got introduced to that, and my world was blown. I'm like, there's a website where you can just buy these things and they get sent to you. It takes, you know, 6 weeks, but they get sent to you. And so I would peruse that website like it was my job. I would find all of these really cute bags. Now, mind you, I didn't really have a job at the time. Like I was waitressing, but I didn't have expendable income. Like I couldn't spend money on these things. But I do remember I bought a wallet, and this was a while ago. This was early 2000s probably, and the quality was awful. You know, it was plastic. It smelled funny. It was funky, but man, getting that DHgate package in the mail was awesome. And if, you know, the DHgate is still up and running. Like people buy things from them all the time, and their quality has gotten much, much better. But anyway, yeah, I just remember getting stuff from DHgate and thinking how cool I was. And I don't really remember what I bought from. Like I said, there was a wallet. Maybe that was probably it. Because again, remember, like, one, I didn't have a job, or I was waitressing, but I didn't have a lot of income. I was a teenager in the throes of puberty and trying to figure out life and college and everything else. But I do remember the constant was that purse that my mom got me. I even brought it to college and I carried it around. I mean, that thing was the shit. It was awesome. So, you know, I didn't really think too much about it through college. I would still go on DHgate every once in a while. And then, you know, I married my first husband and we had kids, and it wasn't really something that I would think too much about. But, you know, fast forward to, I think when I really started getting back into it was COVID. That's when everything starts, isn't it? Like hobbies start in COVID. New things come out during COVID, and my husband bought me a Cricut, and I remember making cups with the LV logo on it. And it was when a lot of times people were trying to make money because, you know, people weren't working. And I remember a woman online was selling a Louis Vuitton Alma that had been repainted, and it was relatively inexpensive. It was like $100 or something like that, and I bought it. And again, it was atrocious. Like the paint was peeling off, but I love that. I still have that bag. Whether it's authentic or not, probably not. She said it was, but I don't think it was. And it was a cute bag. I love that bag. I carried it with me, like down to go get the mail, because during COVID, what else are you doing but walking around your neighborhood and going to get the mail? And then after that, I discovered Fashion File. These are all really like well-known websites, but I don't know. I guess I just didn't. Was it Fashion File or was it Mercari? It was not Fashion File. I discovered Fashion File a couple years ago. Mercari was what it was, and I didn't realize at the time that when you bid on something, again, air quotes, that you win it. Like it's not like eBay. Mercari is not eBay. Like when you commit to buy it, you have to buy it. I remember I saw a Speedy on there. It was not the Murakami one, but it was I think it was like a Speedy 25. And there was two of them that I was watching, and I had clicked on commit on two of them, and I didn't know what that meant. And so I got an email saying I had to pay for both of them, and they were like $500 for the two of them. And I didn't tell my husband. I was like, oops, well, I guess I'll have two of the same Speedies coming in. And again, I still have those bags, and they were vintage. They are authentic, and I have a picture of me holding both of them. And I was like, dang, you know. But so I had those two. You would have thought I was good. I was like, I own an authentic Louis Vuitton Speedy that's vintage. It was beautiful. I gotta use those more often. Yeah, they're in my closet. Like, why am I not using them? I don't remember why, but it wasn't the Murakami one. And I think for me, even at 41, that was like the epitome of luxury to me. So I had those two. I think maybe I sold one. Maybe I had sold one. I don't remember. Yeah, this is a really articulate podcast. But anyway, so again, Louis Vuitton and the whole like bougie on a budget thing really hadn't taken off. You know, obviously people were buying Louis Vuitton bags, but it wasn't as popular as it was once Instagram and TikTok came out. So I had those bags, and you know, I barely used them. I didn't use them all that often, and my son used them to carry around his Pokemon cards because he was cooler than me, and he wanted to get a Louis Vuitton belt, so I got him one of those off of DHgate. And I was kind of, at this point, I was dabbling in buying different things. I had bought a long wallet, and I bought a different wallet, and you know, just kind of dabbling. Well, then the whole Canal Street thing hit I think it was TikTok. When TikTok during COVID became popular, and when the world started opening up back again, I would watch videos and I would look at people unboxing Louis Vuitton bags. And then I saw a video of a girl on Canal Street, and I was like, holy crap, there's a DHgate in real life? Like, what? And I had to get there. Like I was like itching to get there. And so my first trip to Canal Street was eye-opening. It was overwhelming. It was a madhouse. Like I wanted to buy everything. And I bought a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have bought. And that is, you know, I did a tips and tricks on my TikTok. And that I wish somebody would have told me before my first trip to Canal Street is go with a plan. Go with what you want. And I didn't do that. And I should have done that because I bought a butt ton of bags that I don't use. And I could have saved money to get like a really good replica as opposed to a whole bunch of different okay ones. They were getting better. The quality was getting better, but not as good as they are now, and not the ones that you could get from the pamphlet ladies. So on that trip again, I bought like 3 wallets, 4 bags. I think I bought a hat, a scarf, and I think that was it. But I just was like, I need every single bag I see, and that's not helpful. So I came home with my treasures, and I wasn't satisfied. I was like, oh my God, I need to go back. So I think I went back like 6 months later. Honestly, like I had made that tips and tricks video, and then I went back with my daughter, because my husband and I were supposed to go to a baseball game and he got sick. And so then I went with my daughter. And this time, after taking my own advice, I went with a clear mind of what I wanted. I wanted to get a wallet. My son wanted a wallet, and I wanted to get a Speedy bag, because those were becoming really popular again. And I had a mission. I knew what I wanted. I was really good at negotiating, and I was introduced to the pamphlet ladies at this point. So before this time, I had just been buying from the guys on the street. And, you know, they lay it out on their blankets, and you peruse them and pick them up and try them on. He's like, oh, you want to buy, you know, all these things. Well, the pamphlet ladies are just what they sound. They have a pamphlet, like a menu of bags they sell. You point to them, you tell them which one you want, you negotiate the price, and then you follow her down an aisle or an alleyway, and she gets you the bag. And let me tell you, the pamphlet ladies have better quality things. Whether or not you want to believe that, whether or not everyone's telling you they don't, they do. They just do. And I got what I wanted, and we were out. You know, but then, you know, then as soon as you get bit by the canal bug, you just want to go back. So then another year passed. I went with my mom. Again, went with a plan. Kind of went a little over excited again, because this was when Canal Street and TikTok was really taking off, and you know, I was really gaining confidence in negotiating, and Louis Vuitton and Bougie on a Budget was really taking off now. Like this was the time of TikTok and Canal Street, and people were taking notice, and it was getting busy, and the pamphlet ladies were all around you, and you know, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and it still is fun. Like my most recent trip, I met another TikToker there, Jermaine, and we actually met through Bougie on a Budget type of thing. He sent me a Walmart Birkin, which, you know, I still love and adore. It's on my shelving. And we met up, and we did a Canal Street whirlwind in the pouring rain. And even in the pouring rain, you can still see them out there. And, you know, it was just fun. It was a community of people, a community of, you know, TikTokers and women who wanted to buy bags but not have to spend a lot of money. And the cool thing is it was a mix of women who carried real bags, buying replicas, and people like me who couldn't afford the real bags, wanting to have the replicas to, you know, carry around. But it was also the start of the stigma of buying replica bags. And this is where, you know, you can agree to disagree with me. I got a lot of comments on my TikTok about how I personally was supporting child labor and how I was bringing up the price of real goods. And I agree to disagree. Like, I really don't see the harm in doing this. And I don't know. I don't want to get too into it, and I don't want to start anything. But for me, it's just fun. Like, you know, I enjoy the community. I enjoy the camaraderie. I've met so many wonderful people on Canal Street, and helping them negotiate and being like, oh, look at the bag that you bought. Like, you don't get that very often anymore. You know, you don't find that kind of community very much anymore. And it was very much a community, either, you know, on TikTok or even in person if you were lucky enough to go to Canal Street. And so, you know, it became this thing. It became this movement of buying replica bags and discussing it with people, and, you know, finding the deals. And DHgate was still going on, and their quality was getting better. And also then the online sales of replica bags grew. And, you know, I don't want to get in trouble for this, because it's very hard I'm not promoting this. What I'm promoting, and I guess I'm not even really promoting, that's not the right word for it. I am explaining my relationship with the Bougie on a Budget. I'm explaining how it started. I don't condone, obviously, child labor. I mean, I obviously don't do that. But I also just love the community, like I had said, that I have built and grown through Bougie on a Budget. You know, Jermaine and I are incredible friends. My sister-in-law and I have bonded over this situation. I've met so many people. I've met a wonderful woman over in China who I connect with about bags, and we support each other, and she's fantastic, and we've made plans to hopefully meet up someday. And so it's more than that. It's more than just the bag. It's about the people who are selling these bags, communicating with you, having a good time, laughing and connecting where you wouldn't normally connect with these people. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And, you know, I just want to touch on it real quickly that a lot of people have been seeing the Canal Street raids, and it's hard because I've connected with a lot of those people that are on Canal Street, and I've been 6 or 7 times, I believe, to Canal Street, and every time I see basically the same people out there, and we connect and we laugh, and I've always felt so safe on Canal Street, and I think that it's unfortunate, you know, what's going on over there, and, you know, I just hope that they're staying safe. But anyway, so with that being said, so, you know, the whole Bougie on a Budget thing grew immensely. It's still growing. It's still a huge movement of people looking for bougie things, and I say bougie, you know, luxury items for inexpensive prices, and being able to, if you have the real thing, carry one that isn't real out and about, because you're worried about it getting stolen or ruined or something like that. And I think that that's where it is. And I went to Japan, and there's a lot of issues with counterfeit over there. So counterfeit for them is extremely illegal. And I ended up purchasing a real Murakami Louis Vuitton Speedy over there. My dream come true. It's my baby, and I love it, and it's adorable, and it's vintage, and it's just like, I just love it so much. People are like, well, then, you know, so you have a real one, but why are you promoting the Bougie on the Budget situation? Because it's okay to have both. You know, it's okay to indulge, but it's also okay to be able to treat yourself with something that you love that you can't necessarily afford. There was a New York City Speedy that I absolutely fell in love with, and it was $5,000. And I wanted the real one so bad because, you know, it's a status type of thing. For me, yeah, I'm materialistic, and I know a lot of people are, and that's okay. And I like my luxury items, but I can't afford it. You know, I can't afford it on my salary and everything else. And I think that it's okay to purchase one that is a replica and you are proud to wear it. I don't know. And I kind of cringe, like, listening to myself talk, because it makes me sound really shallow. Like, oh, I need to have a bag to be happy. And it's not the thing. It's not the case. Everybody has their things. And I think out of all of my episodes, this may be the most controversial one. And I hope people can kind of see past it and understand that this is just kind of my story of how I've dabbled in Bougie on a Budget and luxury items that people can afford and love and cherish and give as gifts. And, you know, go to Canal Street if you're able to and meet the people that are selling these bags, because it's a community and it's beautiful. And the community of luxury items is beautiful if you want to go into that. And it's not for everybody, and that's okay. Like, if you're buying real items, I love that for you. If you're buying the Bougie on the Budget on Canal Street or DH Gate or wherever, I love that for you. It's really kind of in this day and age where things aren't always rainbows and sunshine, it's kind of doing what makes you happy. And that's what Bougie on a Budget and luxury items do for me. And candy, you know, and being a mother and having a fulfilling job and being married, you know, all of those things. And that's okay. I feel like there's a lot of stigma that go along with replicas and Bougie on a Budget and not being able to afford luxury items, but wanting to carry them. And I just hope that that goes away. You know, I really hope that we stop doing that. And people are like, well, you're just going to see labels. But I like labels. I'm going to be honest. I like the labels, and I love my Louis Vuitton bags, whether they're real or not. And I think that's okay. Because life is messy. And if you have a beautiful bag on your arm, no matter if it's real or not, and that makes you happy, so be it. Like, who cares? So anyway, I think this episode kind of took a broader turn than I was looking for, and I kind of got on a soapbox a little bit, but definitely the next episodes where I talk about Bougie on the Budget, it's going to be much more about trends and really kind of seeing where the trends are going with handbags and what people are buying. But I kind of just wanted to explain where that came from and my thoughts on it, and drop in the comments if you disagree with me or if you agree with me. But, I'd be interested to hear your take on it. And I don't want it to become a big thing, but I also want it to be a big thing. I don't know if that makes sense. Because I want to see beyond like the Bougie on the Budget and the replicas. I want it to be seen that it's about finding your people, finding what you enjoy, and connecting with those who also enjoy it. So connecting with those who like the Bougie on the Budget and the replicas, and then building that community. Whether that be the replica bags or crafting or cars or shoes or whatever, or children, cooking, sourdough. Sourdough's another big one that people are starting to connect about. And that's great. Find your community, hang on tight to them, because life is not always clean, because life is messy, and we know that. So anyway, again, I think that this took a little bit of a different turn than my usual podcasts, but I also just wanted to share my origin story with replicas and Bougie on a Budget, and just kind of explain where that came from. So next week is my parenting episode. So we're going to talk about parenting teens, how difficult it is to parent teens, and if you have children that are going into high school, solidarity, because my son is graduating in May from high school, and then my other son is entering as freshman year of high school. And I might have a guest on my next show to talk about teenagers with me. So buckle up, buttercups. we're moving on. So anyway, I hope that you enjoy this episode. Please comment below with any takeaways that you have from this. Let me know if you've ever been to Canal Street. I want to hear about it. And as always, remember, candy's sweet, life is messy, and you can do it all Bougie on a Budget. All right. Goodbye.